Welcome to drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent Black people. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins, and I want to say hello and good morning to all of you. It is a beautiful Sunday, and I'm here with my wife in Chicago. So as we get ready, I wanted to just kind of hang out with you guys a little bit. As we get started, do me a favor, please hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. Also, let me know if you can hear me okay. And also, I want to remind everybody that this podcast can be seen on Spotify. So if you are, or it can be listened to on Spotify and Apple. So if you have Spotify and Apple, just look up Boyce Watkins. You can find the Dr. Boyce Breakdown and my other podcast, which is called How to Make Money Without Working. So you can look up those podcasts. And if that's something that's of interest to you, I would love to connect with you on that. So I want to talk to you guys about the Los Angeles Raiders. And apparently, the Los Angeles Raiders are getting a lot of credit for making history by having a Black president, a Black coach, and a Black GM. How many of y'all heard about that? If you heard about it, let me know. Say something, say yes in the chat. This has made the news lately, and I want to start by congratulating the individuals who got this opportunity, who are now running this team. Now, I don't know if it's a great football team right now, but then again, you have your up and down years, right? You got your years where things are good and you got your years where things are not so good. So I'm not worried so much about how well they're doing one way or the other, but I am here to kind of give you some perspective on some of this. And I'm going to give you guys the general story. And as I give you all the story, I will also kind of give you a Dr. Boyce breakdown on some of this that's probably going to challenge our thinking a little bit. And so I need you to give me a confirmation, give me a yes in the chat if it's okay if I say something that you may disagree with, but let me know that you're willing to at least hear me. Let me know if you're at least willing to hear my perspective. You don't have to agree. I just want to know if you actually can hear it. All right. So here's what the deal is, and then I'm gonna tell you why I'm talking about this. So apparently, I saw this on an Instagram page. I was on my Instagram. My Instagram is Dr. Boyce Finance. If you want to follow me on Instagram, and I saw a post from this platform called Boardroom, and they mentioned that the Raiders have they're the only NFL team with a Black coach, a Black GM, and a Black president. And so this article led me to do some research online, and I wanted to find it so I can read it to you, so you guys will just kind of know the deal as I kind of give a quick analysis of this. So it says here that on Black America Web that let me scroll up. Mark Davis, who is the owner of the Raiders, named Douglas Morgan president in July 2022. And she stated at the time of becoming the first Black woman to hold the position, I definitely never wanted to be the last, and I want to get to a point where there are more firsts. Also adding, she reported this to the Las Vegas Sun. The impact of this is not lost on me. I definitely would tip my hat to all of the prior women who were leaders and visionaries. And if I could be an inspiration to help open doors for any other women and girls out there, then that's an incredible accomplishment for me. Okay, so what else does it say here? So Kelly stepped up last week into the front office position after being named assistant general manager of the Las Vegas Raiders. So who's Kelly? Okay, so you got Douglas Morgan. The owner is Mark Davis, and I'm trying to figure out who this Kelly person is. They just say Kelly. Champ Kelly. He stepped up last week as well into the front office position after being named assistant general manager of the Raiders in 2022. So apparently Champ Kelly is the GM. So write that down. So Champ Kelly, because I want to make sure we give them credit, is the GM. And the sister, Douglas Morgan, is the president. Is that right? Did I get that right? Yeah, she's the president. And then the coach, I'll find the coach's name. Let's see here. We will certainly be praying for Champ Kelly along with Sandra Douglas Morgan and Antonio Pierce as they embark on new bright chapters for the Raiders. So is Antonio Pierce the coach? I'm going to guess Antonio might be the coach, but I could end up getting this wrong. I'm not sure. Now here's something that I kind of want to sort of lay out for you is I want to ask you all this question. I'm going to start with a question. When you see three Black people that get this opportunity to do something that no Black person has done before, there's never been a situation in Black history where you had a Black president, GM, and head coach. Would you all define this as Black history? Give me a yes or no. Would you say that this is Black history or not? What do you all think? And I'm asking, this is a very loaded question. And then just to give you some more context, that guy with the mullet, that's Mark Davis. He's a weird looking dude. And that's a picture of Mark Davis next to Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones is the owner of the Dallas Cowboys. All right. So now that I've asked you all that question, that admittedly loaded question, I'm going to give you the answer in my book to this admittedly loaded question. No, this is not Black history, people. I hate to break it to you. I hate to make you sad. I hate to make you upset, but this is not Black history. Because what this represents is three Black people who got a job. That's what it is. I mean, that's what it is. It's not to say that it's bad. These are good jobs. These are good jobs. They're making good money. But these are three Black people who got a job. I ask y'all this question. Have Black people ever gotten jobs before? Yes or no? Have we ever had Black people that had good jobs before? Really? I mean, is a Black person getting a job reflective of something that Black people haven't done 10 billion times before? Yes or no? So here's what I kind of want to reflect on. And this really leans into my bias. I come from a powernomics background. I'm a big believer in Dr. Claude Anderson. And one thing that Dr. Claude Anderson says is that Black people have been working for white people since slavery. And there's nothing to discredit Mark Davis for giving Black people a chance to come work for him. His father, Al, hired the first Black coach in the NFL, which was great. But I think that one of the things that we forget is that we sometimes forget that babysitting another man's business is not the same as actually having real power and real ownership in a business. It's just not. It is. I mean, so if you ask me, did the Raiders make history by hiring three Black people? I'm going to say the answer is no. The answer is no. It's special. It's nice. It's good for them. Maybe they made white history. How about that? They made white history because, God bless him, Mark Davis is the first white man who's smart enough to realize how talented and how capable Black people are. So how about this? How about we give him credit for you made white history. You made white history. White history was made because you were the first white guy who understood something that we have known all the time. We've always known that our community has had talent. We've always known that our community had potential. We've always known that our people can run any business that they put their mind to. We've always known these things, right? So this idea that somehow this is that white people have the ability to make Black history, I encourage you to question that. Because I don't think Black people have the ability to make white history. Like, we can't. There aren't white people sitting around hoping that a Black person gives them an opportunity to make white history. Being selected by your master does not make you Harriet Tubman. It's just not, you just don't. The people that make Black history are the people that weren't selected by the master. The people that make Black history are the ones who defied the master. The people who make Black history are the ones who were able to overcome the power of the master, right? So I'm not saying that getting into the big house is not an accomplishment. They got into the big house. We had slaves that got into the big house. I'm not saying that they're sellouts. I'm not saying that they're bad people. For all I know, they could be about it, down for the cause, 100%, blickety black all the time. So do not think for one second that I am crapping on their accomplishment. Do not think for one second that I am saying that these individuals are not extraordinary human beings. I'm not saying that at all. All I'm saying is that being given an opportunity by a white person does not create Black history. And it's very dangerous for you to even believe that them simply choosing you being the pick me that they select somehow makes you an extraordinary and an accomplished Black person. I mean, if that's the case, then Donald Trump has hired many, many Black people through the years. Donald Trump's hired, you go look at his track record, Donald Trump's hired a lot of Black people. Joe Biden has a lot of Black friends. But these are not the people in your community that are moving things forward. These are not the people that are creating ownership opportunities for Black people. These are not the ones who are giving you real power. These are people who are standing next to power. So you just hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. Let me show you what power looks like. Y'all want to see a picture of power? Y'all want to see what power? Give me a yes if you want to see what power looks like. And you can walk by, babe. My background's up. Y'all want to see power? Let me show you a picture of power. Bam! That's what power looks like. The wrinkled old white guy who was seen in a picture standing up and blocking a school door so black kids couldn't get in the 1950s and still didn't give a damn because y'all couldn't do nothing to him. That's power. Jerry Jones has power. The guy with the mullet, the white guy with the mullet, the one that don't even care if I clown him for having a mullet. He don't care. You know why he don't care? Because he's got power. He can walk in a lot of rooms and put his balls on the table, his naked, hairy balls right there on the table, and ain't nobody going to say nothing to him because he's got real power. People who have jobs can't do that. Do y'all know how Mark Davis got ownership of the Los Angeles Raiders? How many of y'all know how Mark Davis became the owner of the Raiders? Anybody know? Anybody know Mark Davis? Anything about his daddy? His ownership of the Raiders was an inheritance from his father, Al Davis. Al Davis, great man, cool guy. Just win, baby. That was his favorite saying. Just win, baby. Love black people. Down for the civil rights movement. Said, let's give opportunities to these Negroes because they deserve it. He's a good guy, good ally. Like Al Davis a lot. Mark Davis is the owner of a team because his daddy gave him an inheritance. So I want to ask you, if you're a daddy, are your children going to say, my daddy gave me an inheritance? Or are your kids going to be able to say, well, my daddy left me a job. He left me a good job. I got a good job because of my daddy. Because my daddy went to the boss at the factory, and the boss at the factory said, I'll put in a good word for you, boy, because you did a good job. So I'm gonna hire your son so he can come work for us too. He can build twice as much wealth for my family. He can build twice as many assets for my family. I don't want to be a jerk here. I'm not trying to burst anybody's bubble. I'm not trying to be mean. I do. It ends up sounding mean because I don't know. I got to the point where I don't have enough time and enough patience to sit around and pussyfoot around the obvious. But hiring 3 black people, that's not it, black folks. That's not the progress that you're seeking. The NFL, LeBron said it. He said that the NFL is a big plantation. Anybody remember that? LeBron said it. It's a big plantation. Now, do y'all think that the NFL plantation is going to be any less of a plantation because they got 3 new black people inside the big house? The only difference is that if you let black people in the big house, you're right. They might cut your throat while you're sleeping. They might conspire to do things that because they're conspiring with the field Negroes. That happened during slavery. But even when you move black people into the big house, the plantation was still the plantation. The power structure was still the power structure. Nothing changed. Black faces in high places are typically just black faces in white spaces. They're not black faces in high places. They're black. Because how are you saying that you have all this power when really they could fire you tomorrow and replace you tomorrow and they're still going to own the business? They own the asset. You own the job and nobody owns a job because you can be fired and they will replace you in 10 minutes. You can't pass that to your kids. You can't pass a job to your children. In fact, there was a black man who worked for the Dallas Cowboys, and it was a very touching moment. His son was a college football player, and they told him, they said, we will give you permission to call your son and tell him that the Cowboys are going to draft your son. So this father-son had this very touching moment where the father calls and he's crying on the phone because he's drafting. He gets to tell his son, hey, son, we're going to draft you at the Cowboys. He couldn't do that without permission. He had to get permission to do that. His boss gave him permission to do that. And his son had to be in the top 1% of athletes in order to get that opportunity. Do y'all know that if you look up the history of Mark Davis, Al Davis' son, who owns the Raiders, Mark was a horrible athlete. His father, Al, was a horrible athlete. His father, Al, went to Syracuse University. I used to be on the faculty at Syracuse University. And you had great athletes at Syracuse like Jim Brown and the brother right after him. They made a whole movie about him, Ernie Davis and guys like that. You had great athletes. Black guys had to earn their rights to be there. He was there. All he did was ride the bench. All Al Davis did was ride the bench. He wasn't no kind of athlete. But think about this. The guy who was a horrible athlete controls the lives of dozens of athletes every year, hundreds of athletes over the course of his career. So you had to bust your butt. You had to go out and run a 4.340, be able to bench press 500 pounds, had to go and do 2-a-day practices in 100-degree heat every single summer just to get a tiny opportunity. He didn't even have to be an athlete. He got the big piece of chicken. He can't catch a football, but he's telling football players what to do. Why is that the case? Well, because his family understands Dr. Claude Anderson's powernomics. They understand where the power actually resides. Jerry Jones was a mediocre athlete, but Jerry Jones tells extraordinary athletes what to do, and they do it. They bow to this man. They bow to him. And so he did not care. It was really hilarious to me. What told me that people didn't understand power is when Jerry Jones got busted in that picture. Anybody remember that racist picture? Give me a yes if you remember that. There was that racist picture where Jerry Jones got busted from the 1950s or something. Let me see here. I'm gonna look up Jerry Jones picture from 1957. Anybody remember that where they realized that Jerry Jones was in some sort of racial picture where black kids were trying to get into the school and they realized Jerry was one of the white guys kind of bullying the black kids to keep them out. And everybody, and what did people do? People instantly went to this illusion. They went to illusion arguments. The illusion argument is when you make an argument under the illusion that life is fair. So these illusions, civil rights illusion arguments, basically consisted of this. Well, if Kyrie Irving is gonna get punished for what he did, then Jerry Jones should get punished too. If so and so got suspended for what he did, then Jerry Jones should get punished too. And you know what happened? How many of y'all know what happened? Did Jerry Jones get suspended? I'm gonna ask y'all that question. Did Jerry Jones get suspended? Did Jerry get punished? Did they take away Jerry's team? Did they fire Jerry from his job? What happened there? There he is in the picture, by the way, if you want to see it. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple, you won't see it, but just imagine an angry-looking white man sitting in the crowd. He looks kind of more curious than angry. He's not the actual lead aggressor. He's not the alpha of the group, but he's part of the group, right? So Jerry's sitting over back in the corner, and this guy in the front with a cigarette in his mouth, he looked like he's got some questions to answer. He probably done hurt some people. But the other ones in the back, he's just watching, right? But here's the thing. Would that happen with Jerry Jones? Jerry Jones didn't get suspended. Jerry Jones did not get punished. They did not sanction him. They didn't do nothing to Jerry Jones. You know why? Because Jerry Jones is the owner. Jerry Jones was like, I don't even think he apologized. He's like, I don't owe y'all Negroes an apology. Get out of my face. You work for me. Because he understands power. And I'm not saying that that's because he's smarter than you. I'm saying because people talk to him differently from the way people talk to you. You see, the language that you received, and I call this the civil rights language, because I'm sorry, some elements of what happened during the civil rights movement made us into a bunch of punks. It made us uncompetitive, and it all feeds into slavery. Go read Dr. Claude Anderson's books. Read Black Labor, White Wealth. Read Powernomics. Powernomics.com. That's his website. He explains it all. That Black people were trained to be a very committed workforce, but very uncompetitive. We were trained to not be competitive with whites, but we were supposed to be determined, dedicated to our jobs of being a good servant, almost like the way a puppy is very, very dedicated. But if the puppy gets out of line and bites you, then you kill him, you shoot him. So effectively, the language that you received as a child was not the language, especially you boys, a lot of y'all men, you were not given the language of men. You were not introduced to the world of men. And so what they told you falsely is that there's this illusion called equality, and that everybody, no matter the color of their skin, is going to get treated the same in the United States. And that as long as you are a good boy and you obey the law and you follow the rules, then good things are going to happen to you and everything's going to be all right. And then when you got into the real world, and things did not work that way, you became very disappointed and disgruntled. You became very upset. You get mad because you get a job, you do a good job, and then they fire you for no reason. You don't know why, or they give Miss Patty the promotion that you should have got, and you're pissed off about it. Or they hire, Donnie Smith that you went to Duke University with, and Donnie is not smarter than you, but he got the job and you didn't. See, a lot of y'all never learned it, so y'all never understood the game of power. So you celebrate jobs. You celebrate, you say, that's Black history, y'all. They hired a Black person, y'all. That's Black history. That's language of a conquered people. That's language of, because if I'm a white guy, I'm sitting here thinking, wow. So I literally I'm like a god to y'all, because you go to church and you pray and you say, Lord Jesus, please just give me an opportunity. Just give me an opportunity. If I got the power to create opportunities for you, then I'm pretty much your God. It's like when I was a little boy and I used to pray and write letters to Santa Claus and ask Santa Claus to bring me presents. And then my parents would see my list of what I was asking Santa Claus for. And then they would secretly put gifts in the closet and pull them out under the Christmas tree at night. And I would say, oh my God, thank you. Santa Claus came and brought my gift, right? But here was the thing. Santa Claus didn't exist. I wasn't really talking to Santa Claus. It was my daddy that was the Santa Claus. He was the one who was bringing the gifts. He was the one that knew what I was praying for. He was the one that was making the delivery. So it didn't matter if Santa Claus saw my letter. What really mattered was that my daddy saw the letter and that my mother saw the letter, because that was my Santa Claus, not this white guy at the North Pole. So the same thing happens in many cases when you go to church and you pray to Jesus that the good Lord gonna give you an opportunity, or that the good Lord gonna give you a better job. And then what happens is that there are people who create these opportunities for you because they own the businesses, they have the wealth, and then they say, boy, I likes you, boy, you a good kid, you a good young man, or Sally, you have been a dedicated worker, so I'm going to take good care of you. I'm going to give you a promotion. I'm going to make you president of my company. You're going to be president of my company. You are the general manager of my organization. You get to represent my family. Yeah, I am the Davis family. We sitting on an empire. You sitting on a job. And you are a representative of the empire. You are the congressman of this little nation called the Al Davis Empire, and I'm the king of this bitch. So the king is the person who will tell the congressman what to do. So you represent me. Is that a bad thing? Not all the time. Not all the time. It's good jobs. Pay good money. Nothing wrong. It's all right. I'm not job shaming. There's no job shaming here. All I'm saying is don't show me a Negro who got a job and talking about they made Black history. You ain't no history being made because somebody picked you. Because seriously, answer me yes or no. Do you think that there are other Black people that are equally qualified to these three who got this job as GM, president, and coach? You don't think there's thousands of other Black people that could have still also done the job? Do you think that there aren't thousands of Black people who applied for the job, who could have been great at the job, but they didn't get the job? Why? Well, because their economic gods decided that they didn't want to choose them. They were choosing white guys for those positions. So to some extent, this can be named white history, right? Because so I give Mark Davis credit, by the way. Mark Davis, the owner of the Raiders, he gets credit from me for making white history because he's one of the few white guys, him and his daddy, great men, much respect for these men. Him and his daddy were among the first to understand how smart Black people are. Him and his daddy were among the first to understand that we are the most dedicated, loyal workforce that there is. Him and his daddy understood that if you pick people based on their skill and not just the color of their skin, you can get a solid organization. God bless him for making white history. I am happy for him for doing that. But don't tell me that him hiring somebody is somehow Black history. No. Black history gets made by us. Black history ain't made by the people who fit into the system. Black history is made by the people who can buck the goddamn thing. Black history isn't made by the person who got the job. Black history is made by the person who can create the job. Black history is made by the playmakers in this economic game. The playmakers are not the people who wait for Mr. White Man to pass them the ball. The playmaker is the one who says, give me the damn ball and I'm going to dunk this thing myself. I'm going to create opportunities for myself. And what I am talking to you guys about all the time on a regular basis, and why half these Negroes don't understand a damn thing I'm saying, is because I'm talking to you about playing the game of power. I'm talking to you about taking your little children and teaching them to be economic playmakers. I was just downstairs at breakfast talking to our kids and explaining to them, everybody thinks that you got to go to work and get these jobs and do all the go in student loan debt and all that. There's a whole other route around all of that where you can make money and not have to do all the work, not have to serve other people, not have to go deep in debt. Let me break the game down to you because I want you to be a playmaker. I don't want you sitting around waiting and hoping and praying for somebody to give you something. I want you to be in the position to give opportunities to others. I don't want you begging for a seat at somebody else's table. I want you to own the damn table so they'll be begging for seats from you. That's what I want you to, and that's why 70-80% of the people that hear me are just going to think I'm an angry black man, and they can't even understand what I'm saying. It's okay. Just step away and let me talk to the people that want to really get this damn thing done. I want to talk to the people that are serious. I want to hear from the talented 10th. The talented 10th is not based on what kind of degrees you have. The talented 10th is not based on how much money is in your bank account. The talented 10th is not based on you being some shiny Negro on TV. The talented 10th comes down in terms of your ability and willingness to see a vision that exceeds the slave vision that they've been feeding us since we were kids. I'm tired of this civil rights talk. I'm tired of this weak ass, sit around, we shall overcome, begging, hoping, marching, praying. If I vote for the right person, everything. No. I don't do that. I'm not interested in any of that. I can't make myself dumb enough and weak enough and pathetic enough to sit around and think that somehow the people that have been denying everything from my ancestors are somehow going to give something to me. I just don't believe it. I'm a skeptic. Forgive me. I'm a skeptic. But here's the bright side of this. Once you burn down the illusion, then you get the ability to create the most beautiful reality known to man. You get to create a vision for your children that is so extraordinary that they'll never have an unempowered day in their life. I don't want my children scared of the world. I don't want them feeling like somebody else's whims or decisions are going to shape how they get to live. I don't want them in the struggle Olympics. I don't want them walking around complaining about how hard it is to be black. I don't want them constantly scared. Got you scared of everything. You scared of your boss. You scared of the police. You scared of the white lady at the grocery store. I don't believe that you can ever reach your higher vibration or your truest purpose when you're walking around constantly in fear. But I believe they deliberately keep us in fear because it's easy to control us that way. So what I'm going to say is this. I want to reiterate this point. I congratulate these three people for getting that job with the Raiders organization. I really do. And I'm not here to disparage their accomplishment on any level. I have no doubt that they are the most qualified people for the job. I want to see them succeed 100%. I also have nothing even against the guy who hired them. I can understand he's trying to do the right thing. Mark Davis, Al Davis, that family tradition is one, they're a Jewish family, and there's been a long-standing alliance between black and Jewish people, all the way going back to the NAACP. The NAACP was a black Jewish alliance, which fine. I'm not here to discredit any of that. But what I am here to say is that when you talk about a black first philosophy, the bigger fundamental question is, how do we make sure that we're structuring the future in such a way that we're going to get the good side of the deal and not the bad side of the deal? Because when you talk about these alliances, like the one with the Davises and these coaches, or the one with the NAACP, you also know that there's been some exploitation in those relationships. I point to things like the hip hop music industry. Many of you have seen how many black rappers have gotten robbed by people who own the record labels. We've talked extensively about how they will put toxic waste music in your community, teaching your kids to get high on drugs, to kill each other, and to want to go to prison. And while they're over laughing all the way to the bank, We talk about that. Even in social media, you look at some of the people that run social media organizations, they're manipulating you just like the record labels do. So what I'm saying to you is that if we're going to play this power game, we've got to start with conversations about ownership, about investing, about the creation and the management of assets as a key to economic strength, survival, and prosperity. When I talk to my kids, we had a weird conversation just now where our middle child was saying to her mom, like, I don't know if I want to go to college or not. And I said, I think you should go to college because college is a lot of fun. However, college is not a requirement for success. However, what is a requirement for to be economically successful is to own assets. I said, I care about you getting an education because education is an asset, but I also would like for you to have financial assets like stocks and real estate because that's how rich people make money, and they make their money without doing any work for anybody anywhere. So these are the conversations we have. We talk about owning assets and not just getting jobs. Not just, well, if you behave and you make good grades and you do that, you get a good job. The job is only the job should be a temporary pathway that you take to get you to the point where you've actually acquired enough assets so your money can literally work for you. That is a real thing. That is a real phenomenon. They don't talk about it much, but that is real. And it's very important for intelligent Black people to get this first because you are on a sinking ship. The American economy is sinking. Most Americans are struggling. Most Americans can't pay the bills. Most Americans can't raise $1,000 in an emergency. So again, and my heart goes out to all of them. It does. It does. So the superpower that I want to deliver to you, that I want to offer to you now, is that I do have a real PhD in finance. You can go Google this. Go read my dissertation. It's right there on the internet. I study this stuff. So I am a master at understanding exactly how these economies work. That's all I thought about for decades. So the point of the matter is that there is a real problem out here, but I'm going to tell you like this. If you listen to the wrong people or you get the bad information, you're going to end up in a ditch like everybody else. And so again, this is not me telling you to listen to me. That's going to have to be your choice. But what I am saying to you is that there is a better way. There is a better path. There is a better reality. There's so many possibilities out here you can't imagine, but what you have to do is not be distracted by the silliness and be distracted by low-level thinking. There's so much low vibrational thinking. It's like walking through the mud. I don't even want to walk in the mud no more. I'm like, let me just get up. It's terrifying. But this is all construct. They created this. They want you in the mud. They want you thinking low level. They want you to be thinking that Black history gets made because a Black person got a job. And I come along and I have to be the asshole who says, no, that's not true. You didn't make Black history. You made white history. Mark made white history because he was smart enough to hire these Black people. But that ain't Black history. Black history is made by the people who are liberating you out of the junk. Black history is being made by the people who are getting you to think differently from the way you thought before. Black history is being made by people who can even question things that you've been taught that are sacred by whatever public school you went to, like the civil rights movement, and they dissect it and say, well, what exactly did we get out of this? And how are our lives actually getting better in the areas of health, wealth, and relationships? There's no area in Black life where you can say that our lives are better since we had that whole thing happen in 1968. It was wonderful. People sacrificed for it. But unfortunately, we have to question that if we're really going to solve this problem. So again, I know this is a lot for some people. And I know some people think that this is very radical. I actually take pride in being radical because I don't think that being typical is going to solve any problems that exist right now. I think that the issues that we're facing right now require us to be radical. You got to think in a whole different box in order for you to get out of the old box. You got to go into a whole different way of reality, a whole different way of looking at things. So this is, again, I'm not asking you to agree with me. I'm simply asking you to consider what I am saying, that more Black people getting jobs will never improve Black wealth. More Black people getting jobs will only improve wealth among the ownership class, which tends to be mostly white. Those people working for Mark Davis, it might improve their personal wealth, and it will improve Mark Davis's wealth, but it will not improve the wealth of the Black community because last time I checked, the Black community does not own the Las Vegas Raiders. So that's it, guys. That's all I got to say. Thank you so much for listening. Hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. I have a new book out. It's called The 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power. It's available at drboycebooks.com. That's drboycebooks.com. And with that book, there are flashcards. There's also a workbook that you can download with some slides from a training that I did. So anyway, guys, I hope you're doing well, and I hope you have a great Sunday. And also, if you want to follow me on Instagram, I'm at Dr. Boyce Finance on Instagram. And also, if you'd like to get profit alerts where I send stocks that I like, things like that out every now and then, just text the word stock to 31996. Text stock to 31996. All right, so I'm out of here, guys. Have a great Sunday.